Today we're going to be looking at my mysterious black binder, inside of which is every single con booklet I've ever gotten. Con books are such a great way to look back at a convention's history, to see the many little stories they carry, the different sizes and shapes. And my collection happens to go all the way back to BronyCon, going all the way back to 2012 here. And then there's some weird oddball cons mixed in, some cons that have their own unique stories surrounding their con books, some more recent events as well. So we're going to start off with my last convention, which was HarmonyCon 2026. So already you can see HarmonyCon went for a corporate theme, but it wasn't just a corporate theme. It was actually a cyberpunk theme. Already with our first con booklet, I think this might have been my favorite theme for any con I've been to. So of course, a lot of con books start off with the table of contents. Usually they have some kind of message from the leadership or the chairs. The cyberpunk hacker theme coming through where they're like taking over the con booklet. Get their website, the code of conduct. They had some pretty good special guests this year at HarmonyCon. And the community guests are always fun, but yeah, you get this consistent branding throughout. Corporate branding, and then they cover it up with their rebel cyberpunk branding, and you get your vendor hall map. I love how it looks like there's a page on top of the page here, but that's just the comic book design. Again, I think this might be my favorite. We're starting off with my favorite, I believe. I'm sure they didn't plan this, but HarmonyCon's vendor hall is shaped like a P for pony, right? HarmonyCon calls their concert Coachella, so this is their lineup of musicians. Oh, and then they get their convention map. I mean, it helps that HarmonyCon's layout is relatively simple. It's mainly just mostly this floor and then like one set of stairs down to this floor, so it's pretty easy to navigate HarmonyCon in this venue at least. They were pretty crowded this year though, so I'm kind of predicting HarmonyCon's going to have to expand into some other rooms, or I don't know if we're going to leave for a whole different venue, but they're going to need some bigger rooms here soon. Oh, and then here we get our events. There it is. That's the classic schedule grid I was looking for. This is what you want to look for when you first get to the convention. It's like, okay, first thing on the list is opening ceremonies, and then you have your pick of whatever panels and events you want to go to. And if you want to read more about them, then you can look at the descriptions and names and such. All right, and then we get some ads. So advertisements in con books are kind of underrated. For example, new pony convention, Sunshine PonyCon. We get some more ads here. Wow, Ponies at Dawn is still going on, huh? This is where I find a lot of pony music. And then you get your autographs page. I see this a lot in con books. They're hacking the employee database. Wow. I think this is going to be my favorite con book theme, but we'll see. We got a lot more to go through. And of course, charity. Charity is a big deal at a lot of pony conventions. And that's that. That's HarmonyCon 2026. Again, I said this multiple times. I'll say it again. I think this is my favorite theme. The corporate theme is just kind of funny. I think we've always joked about business con as a theme at pony conventions. And then on the reverse side, you get the cyberpunk theme, and that's just kind of littered throughout. I really like that a lot. So continuing chronological order, or reverse chronological order, would be Ponyville Ciderfest. This would be 2025, I believe. It doesn't actually say the year on the front here. Obviously, it was the game show theme, which was a lot of fun. On the reverse cover, they show their next convention, Whinny City. Whinny City, for those who don't know, run by the same people as Ciderfest. And yep, on your very first page here, you get the usual table of contents, message from the con chair. This is a bigger booklet. I might have to zoom out for this one. You get your convention hours. You get a very simple map. Yeah, it's nice that they have the basic information, where you are, when's check-in and check-out. On the very next page, you get your code of conduct, and of course, the vendor hall map right there. Unfortunately, this one's not shaped like a P for pony. I think a friend of mine got some of these keycaps. They're pretty cool. And Ponyville Ciderfest puts their sponsors right here on the third page, or the third opening. So I think Ciderfest does ticketed events for some of these things. That's one of the things that can vary convention to convention. Speaking of guests, here are the guests of honor. And then on the next page, you get your community guests, musicians, you get your activities room, various things to do, hands-on activities, and then video games. A lot of cons do this, but I do remember Ciderfest, they'll like lease out third-party company that brings in a bunch of machines and a bunch of games and stuff to do. This is one of the first things that caught my eye in the rules is no sleeping in the game room. So no all-night gaming, I guess. Keep your trash talking to a minimum. Aw, that's no fun.
Good game. We bust the hubs right off of you.
And then tabletop gaming, also a very important inclusion. And then on our next page, we get our full page ad of Sunshine PonyCon again, and the Grand Galloping Gala. A lot of cons do a gala. I think I've seen this elsewhere too, but sometimes they even have a dress code. Yeah, it says right here, you should have a formal outfit. And then there's your schedule grid. You just find the time. Well, obviously you find the day, then you find your time, and then you follow it over to whatever events you want to participate in. And then just like with the other booklet, you get your specific descriptions of those events. Okay, interesting. Now this one is not alphabetical order. This one actually is chronological order. I was a little bit confused by that in the previous con book where I thought, that's not very useful, but then I realized, oh, it is useful if you look up the name and then you look up the panel. But here we have the reverse problem where you look up the name, you also have to look up the time, I guess, to find it in the description section. So yeah, that's actually kind of worth pointing out. It's just a small way of doing things differently. You kind of got to like figure out where you're going. So whatever makes that more efficient, the better. More special events. Ciderfest calm down. And of course, it's cider tasting. There's some more panel descriptions and events descriptions, another concert schedule. People often ask me what you do at conventions. You could read all of these events and like plan your day like hour by hour or even half hour by half hour. Or you could just hang out and like see what there is to see. Some more schedule information and then some charity information. Sunday events followed by an ad. The full page ads are always kind of fun. This is a recent convention, so it's nothing too surprising, but it is fun to look back at the older con books we're going to see soon and see what they advertise. A lot of people go into making a convention happen. Usually when you attend a convention, you don't really think about all the people behind the scenes, and that's a sign that they're doing a good job. Their next 2 events coming up soon. These might be over by the time you see this video, but if not, go check them out. But then, the next big event is Everfree Northwest. All right, looking like Everfree has their summer vacation vibe. Right off the bat, top billing here at Everfree Northwest. Guests of honor is the very first thing in the con book, followed by their Foals room and things for the kids to do. Everfree does this nice thing where they have an icon next to kid-friendly events that aren't necessarily just for kids, but still friendly for the kids. And of course, the table of contents. Hey, this is very nice. The 13th annual Everfree Northwest. It's nice that they clarify that because it makes it looking back at con books like this more useful. Got your letter from the chairs. There's your code of conduct. Wow, there's a lot of information here. And then thanking the sponsors and some charity information. I will say, my first impression of this Everfree booklet is that it's very information dense. You know, I thought maybe it was just the code of conduct was like that, but no, I think that's a recurring theme. And look at that, you got your official Everfree merch. Oh yeah, I think I have this little plushie. And there she is. Hey, maybe someday I should do a video in this format just looking at unique plushies in my collection. That brings us to the next page, vendor hall map, and then the very next page, guests of honor. This is nice. I was criticizing their tiny font choice earlier, but nice big full page maps, very useful, especially for newcomers. You got this nice public area, the winter garden they call it. So if you ever go to Everfree, keep in mind that you have to go across this little balcony area to find these other rooms. When you're there in person, it's a little bit confusing, but it's just a short walk over there, so it's not too bad. These are the sort of things I like to explore and figure out on day 0 of a convention. It's just walk around and find the best way to get from point A to point B. All right, next page is the community guests. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is for their concert. They call theirs Pony Stock, but they also have a Grand Galloping Gala. And there's your classic schedule grid. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is just the most efficient way to look at all the events in one place. I will say Everfree's website schedule is peak right now. I don't think any other pony convention can compete with Everfree's schedule. Everfree has a My Schedule option. I wish more cons did this, where you can go through the schedule and you can assign events to your customized schedule to just appear there. A lot of cons will just share an image for your map or a spreadsheet for your event schedule, but there's something very unique and special about having it in a booklet form. Also, a lot of pony conventions, a lot of hotels and venues have spotty Wi-Fi or dead spots in the internet connection. Sometimes you need a con book. Here's the other Saturday and Sunday event schedule. I love horse relations for HR, that's funny. And an area map. HarmonyCon has a nice venue, but it's in the middle of nowhere. You can almost not walk anywhere. But here, this is where Everfree is. I've actually gotten the habit of walking from Everfree down the street to the QFC for groceries here. So that's a little bit of a pro tip. If you want to save money, you could just get some food and stash it in your refrigerator. But yeah, Everfree is adjacent to a whole mall. As far as the surrounding area is concerned, Everfree might also be peak in that concern. I mean, they are the largest current Brony convention, so they are peak in a lot of ways. All right, back to the back cover and the front cover. That was Everfree 2025. I'm looking forward to 2026 coming up soon. All right, next chronological order. TrotCon. The TrotCon con booklet is a bit of a cursed item, and not because it's small. I actually like its size. This is very handy to slip into a back pocket. I actually kind of wish more cons made them small like this. They also gave you this little passport for the, what was it called? Some kind of stamp thing. You go to different panels and you get a stamp and you can collect them. I don't know if they knew I was from New York or if that's just a coincidence, but if that's a coincidence, that's pretty great. I got the one stamp from where I'm from. So yeah, why is the con book so cursed? Well, it has nothing to do with what's inside. We'll look in a moment. The reason the con book's so cursed is because I'm not supposed to have this. For a lot of cons, it's standard to get a con booklet. The website states you get a con booklet with your badge and price of admission. And then during the event, something went wrong. Someone didn't order them or they weren't able to order them, so they didn't have enough con booklets for everyone, apparently. I don't know what the story is from TrotCon's point of view. All I know is that they advertised con booklets, and then when you got there to pick up your con booklet, they said, nope, they're sponsors only. So a lot of people were upset about this. You know, it became a bit of a dramatic incident, to say the least. When people called out TrotCon, their response wasn't an apology. It was to delete messages and change the website quickly and hope nobody noticed. And yeah, it just wasn't handled that well. Let's just say that. So how do I have a TrotCon booklet then? Well, a friend by the name of Riza was nice enough to give me this one. I think it was at Everfree. So this is an authentic TrotCon con booklet we're about to look at. There is a There is a bootleg con booklet that was circulating at Mare Fair, actually. Some people at Mare Fair were just as a joke trying to say that they could do con booklets better than TrotCon, I guess. But no, this is an authentic one. So it's a good list of all your staff. I will say, not the most readable font. Probably about as readable as Everfree's tiny font. Speaking of tiny fonts, maybe a smaller con booklet has some downsides too. Pretty sure rules and policies, these are all pretty similar to the other ones. I like the casual speak here. Come on, do we really need to remind you? All right, let's see what's on the next page. Oh yeah, guests of honor. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna call it as I see it. This font is both small and hard to read. Not a fan. And on the next page, we get some community guests and musicians. Lots of musicians. Wow. They really went all out for the music. And then another ad. So far, we've only seen pony ads, but here's an ad for Anthro, Ohio, and your map. TrotCon was a con where the map was really useful. I think it was these rooms over here I was struggling to find, only because I didn't have this map in front of me. You know, because I didn't have the con booklet. Oh, then we get our panel list with descriptions and all. Where's the schedule grid? That's what I'm looking for. I wonder how they're going to make that fit in a tiny booklet. Wait a minute. Don't tell me. Is there no schedule grid? Okay. There's no schedule grid in the TrotCon booklet. But yeah, backing up a little bit, another ad for another convention. I only go to pony conventions. I've been to like one small local Comic-Con and I was not impressed. PonyCons have spoiled me. I wonder how the advertisers feel about the con booklet not being made. And then your vendor hall map. The vendors get a little description for each booth. Some cons don't do that. Yeah, a lot of vendors here. They take up a few pages. And then we get back to another ad for coffee. I will say, these are some weird ads. Usually I look forward to seeing the ads in a con booklet because they usually show off fan projects or funny, silly stuff. No, this is just an ad for some coffee, I think. This is useful. Some nearby food information. And then an announcement for the next TrotCon, which as of right now, as of recording, it sounds like is not actually going to be happening. Well, I guess I should say it is happening, just online for what that's worth. I will say a little bit ironic that the sponsors are the only people who get to read their names in the con booklet, but okay. That is the TrotCon booklet, the most cursed booklet I own. A lot to like, a lot to not like, but yeah, let's look at the next one. More HarmonyCon. I believe they're going for a Broadway theme here. And on the very first page here, what but the table of contents and a message from the chairs. I like to compare and contrast against how different con booklets do things, and some of these things are pretty obvious that they do right off the bat. Code of conduct, same as usual. And we get some special guests. Got your community guests, lots of recognizable people as usual. All right, wow, this looks like an old-timey newspaper kind of thing, right? This is probably how they styled the pamphlets at a Broadway show or something. I'm very uncultured. I don't know for sure, but it's probably along those lines. Hey, back to some pony ads. Someone's Etsy. Hey, main chat. I think this is a joke ad. I love seeing random stuff like this. Then you got your musicians. Another gigantic cast of people here. Again, HarmonyCon calls their event Coachella. Another full-page ad. All right, then we get to our map. I gotta say, first impressions, I don't like this map as much. Thankfully, I know HarmonyCon's venue pretty well, so I wouldn't get lost here, but something about the font and the thin lines I'm not a big fan of. I'm curious to see if I have a similar criticism for the next con booklets from HarmonyCon, because the previous one was fine. I like the previous one. And there you go, your P for Pony vendor hall. So they have a special page dedicated to contests and meetups. Here's your schedule just for games. Speaking of games, looks like they got an ad or a sponsor from the National Video Game Museum. They've worked with them in the past because my friends and I actually went there. It was a lot of fun. And there's your schedule grid. Wow, that is the hardest to read font so far. In this video, that is. maybe we'll see worse. I don't know. Yeah, not a fan of that at all. This is worse than TrotCon's. I can barely read this. So yeah, schedule grid and the panel descriptions as usual. I like the color coding. Hold on, is the color coding? Yes, the color coding is by room. That is useful. I like that. And your next day, more descriptions. Lots of descriptions for Saturday, and then we get to Sunday. Oh, this is like an ad for their con store. That's cool. I think the ads are my favorite part so far. Look at this. We got tax services. Brony tax services. And this is an actual ad. This is an actual LLC. That is amazing. Then we get a couple other cons, Mare Fair and Hearthwarming Club. Man, Hearthwarming Club makes me sad. It is like so close to where I live, but just barely out of reach. I just couldn't make it happen due to finances and travel. Then you get your autographs page. I kind of like this design for autographs. The title of the page blends in with the autographs. I like that. And we get our charity information. I will say it looks like they forgot the logo. Some staff information of how to identify staff. That's useful if you need help at the con. This is a good thing to include. Speaking of staff, you get their credits and lists here, and then sponsors. So next in my big convention binder of doom is another Ponyville Ciderfest. So they're going for a Creativity Unleashed theme. All right, that's cool. They put their stamp rally right on the back of the con book. So you get your vendor map of where everyone's at, and you get stamps from some of the vendors, and you can fill them out here. So that's pretty useful. You don't have to flip to a certain page for that. You just pull out your con booklet, and it's ready to go. Place your bets now. Table of contents? No! More hotel information, just like the previous Ciderfest booklet we looked at. So yeah, it looks like they carry over a lot of similar design elements. Kind of small, a little bit confusing. You get the hours for the various convention events and stuff going on. More rules and codes of conduct, your sponsors, This is cool. As a sponsor, you get your own custom art in the booklet. That's nice. So yeah, this is very similar to the other Ciderfest booklet, just with a different design, obviously. There's your guests of honor and your community guests, followed by more guests, this time the musicians. Here's your concert information, video game information, tabletop information. Con booklets are very information dense, and I like that. And your classic schedule grid. Safi Moon was in the vendor hall, and it looks like this ad doubles as a coupon. That's kind of a cool idea. So more information about the Grand Galloping Gala. And there's your Sunday schedule grid, which they squeezed onto one page. And of course, their credits of all the volunteers and staff to make things happen. So yeah, very similar to the other con booklet. I will point out there's like a matte finish on this con booklet. A lot of con books are shiny on the covers, but this one's matte, and I actually kind of like that kind of watercolor look. Really is complemented by this matte finish. And we're jumping right to Whinny City, which is also run by the same people. These larger con booklets look really nice and are really fun collectibles, but these are pretty unwieldy during the con, you know? So I usually end up just throwing these in plastic and taking them home as collectibles rather than use them. But they've got the summer camp theme going on this year. Kind of small. I wish this was a full page map. So yeah, I'm guessing this will actually end up being pretty similar. You got your table of contents. Oh, they do the custom designs for the sponsors here, the special events with the guests of honor. And speaking of which, the guests of honor. I want to hear about the show from people like Big Jim. That's what I look forward to the most at a con. Then you also have your community guests and musicians as usual. Music schedule. Room schedule, tabletop gaming. Wow, there's a lot. There's like 2 pages of that. And then you get to your panel grid. We got video game information. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay. It looks like a classic Tumblr blog. It just caught my attention because derpy, obviously. And there you have the last page being all the credits. Obviously, we're doing reverse chronological order here. So they're advertising Creativity Unleashed. And we just looked at the Creativity Unleashed one. So next after Whinny City, or I should say before Whinny City, we're going back to Everfree. So they're going for a comic book theme with this one. You can see the kind of dithered comic book look here. What will be the first thing that Everfree talks about? The guests of honor. I recognize this already. I've never taken the time to look at con booklets side by side like we are today. So I'm realizing like they have their own kind of format here with the guests of honor, then the children's information, the 12th annual. I do like how they spell that out. Yeah, we're kind of getting to a pattern here. Your tiny, barely readable code of conduct, your vendor hall map and a list of all the vendors, and then the guests of honor. I think they went all out with comic book guests this year because of the comic book theme. There's the maps again. Got some community guests, concert information, and of course, we're back to the classic schedule grid. Oh, that's interesting. They're putting the different days grids back to back, followed by, oh, wait, no, they don't have the panel information. Interesting. Yep, your blank autographs page and the staff page. All right, what's next? I think it's going to be pretty predictable at this point. We're back to HarmonyCon, of course. In case you haven't picked up on the pattern, I'm kind of going back and forth at this era with HarmonyCon and Everfree. Once we get past this era, it's going to be all BronyCon. Man, leave it to HarmonyCon to have like the most distinct and coolest looking themes of the year. And not only do they have cool themes at this con, but also this con booklet might be the perfect size. It's not too small, not too big. All right, what do they do first? Of course, it's the table of contents. So they're going for a very distinct style with this one, obviously, like a notebook with like hand-drawn art and stuff. This appears to be a general welcome. I guess this is sort of in place of the con chair. Oh no, I'm sorry. It is the con chair opening, but it's formatted to look as teenager as possible. Well, that's not relevant because teenagers aren't like this anymore. This is my teenager generation. This fandom is not a phase for us. It never was, Dad. Very important poll here. Do you like waffles? So we saw a couple of the con booklets from Ciderfest and Everfree specifically that were kind of repetitive, right? But this went all out with a whole different theme and wording. I like that a lot. General rules. I love how rule number 1 is no sleeping in public areas. Rule 3 says no bare feet, but what about bare hooves? All right, next up, a bunch of special guests, and then jumping over to community guests. A lot of cool people as usual. Oh, here's an ad for BabsCon welcoming Andrea Libman. For those who don't know, BabsCon is no more. BabsCon was one of the bigger conventions, so it was a big deal when they ended. Man, most of these PonyCons have like huge lineups of many, many musicians. Interesting. Is this the same map as before? Or no, this one looks worse. I'm sorry, HarmonyCon. Gotta call it where I see it, but this looks terrible. Look at that aliasing. What happened here? The map might be the most useful thing in a con booklet, so that's why I'm gonna criticize it when I see mistakes like that. P for Pony once again. And then we get to our panel grid. Here's an ad for a pony game. Wasteland Productions followed Equestria. I think episode 1 of this just came out recently, so that's been years in the making. More panel grids, more descriptions. So you might have heard of Ponytown, right? It's kind of like the Club Penguin for bronies, where you just hang out and chat and explore the world together, but they also stream events and concerts, including HarmonyCon. Autographs, of course. editors and staff. But hey, that's not the last page. There is also information about their charity and special thanks to sponsors and other people involved. Yeah, I like that a lot. I love this design for a con booklet. This style notebook for a con booklet is really genius in my opinion. All right, let's take a look at Everfree Northwest 2023. Yep, things are looking pretty familiar. This is the year I remember well because they went all out for G5. Half the fandom was celebrating and half the fandom was disappointed by this, but this was the year of G5 at Everfree. Oh, and I remember this mystery guest thing. Pretty sure this was Celestia and Luna, the VAs, Nicole, Oliver, and Tabitha. And then they were still doing this weird thing that was kind of reminiscent of COVID era. I think these other VAs and guests were like remote, or maybe they weren't remote. I actually don't remember. I didn't meet them myself. Yeah, that kind of brings back memories of BronyCon trying to pivot to be a multi-genre convention and get away from ponies, which was not something I liked, and obviously it kind of was a signal of their downfall. Thankfully, this is 2023, so this does not signal the downfall of Everfree. Between all the G5 stuff on the previous page here, all the G5 stuff and non-pony VAs, this was a year I was concerned about Everfree losing what made it special, losing the poniness of it all, you know? But hey, thankfully that didn't happen, and I can applaud them for trying something new. And if it didn't work out, then that's okay, because this was 2023. They obviously pivoted back to the ponies we know and love. So yeah, pretty good template for a con booklet. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll give you one guess what's next. We got more HarmonyCon to look at. Going back to a very distinct theme and a very good size for a con booklet. Oh, would you look at that? I got two of these. I do not know why I have two of these. They're going for the the tabloid look here. Again, a very specific theme that's kind of silly and nostalgic. So it gives you a lot to look at just here on the cover of like fictional articles and gossip going on. Table of contents. They're doing the cutesy scene thing again with the roar. XD, we're so random. I will say this design is like also difficult to read, but I think this is more fun to read. It's kind of chaotic and I like it. This is like their code of conduct, but just formatted in a more fun, silly way. Got some special guests, got some community guests. Keeping in theme with the tabloid look, their mascot was invited but turned down the spotlight due to a case of cold claws. Then you get your musicians. Hey, this map might be smaller, but I actually like this a lot more than the previous HarmonyCon booklet we looked at. Yeah, this is their previous venue as well, which was kind of difficult. It was not a fun one to navigate. The social is like so far away from everything else. Most of the convention took place right here, so you had to go exploring to find this one. All of this was like upstairs, and there were no stairs, so if the elevators were full or had a line, you just couldn't go up there. Stairs for a fire escape, but I believe they went outside and were alarmed, or something similar. I don't remember exactly what the situation was. This was years ago. But yeah, this was a good event. I had a lot of fun at this event, but man, this layout for a con was not great. And we see the death of the P for Pony going to this event. Wow, look at that. I know what that is. I'm not talking about Coachella. I'm talking about Skype. Every HarmonyCon booklet we've looked at so far has just put a smile on my face for the design alone. I just noticed. Look at that. There's even a little Clippy here. So even with the smaller panel booklet size, they still managed to fit a good schedule grid in here. They got the schedule grid and the descriptions and the color coding. This is all down to a science. This is great. When you're hearing about pony conventions, or really any convention for that matter, this is sort of the part you don't see unless you're there. The sheer quantity of panels and events to attend and look at. Each of these are typically run by different people talking about different things, and so no matter what you're into, there's a panel for you at some pony convention. Little trivia and flavor text makes these so much more fun to revisit as I am right now, you know? Looks like they have these sections for ads, but they didn't sell the ads. If I were to put an ad in any con booklet, it would have to be HarmonyCon because of how good their con booklets are. They got their charity and the staff. I mean, I gotta do it, right? Let's do the quiz. What do you like to do to relax? Chill with your favorite tunes? Don't relax because there's a cons going on. Bury yourself in warm sand. I can already see that one of the answers is gonna be you're the crab mascot. How do you respond to conflict? Come to a compromise? Dab on the haters? Or pinch your opposer? I'll dab on the haters. How do you spend a fun night out? How would your friends describe you? If you had a catchphrase, what would it be? So my answer is 8. I am Harmonic Tune. I'm relaxed, dependable, and a great friend. So I believe that's this guy up here. HarmonyCon, never change. Here we are 3 years later, and this booklet is still bringing joy to my day. All right, you know the pattern by now. Let's look at another Everfree. And this is their 10th anniversary, if you can believe it. Oh boy, we're back to big con booklets. Time to zoom out. No offense to Everfree. I love Everfree, but I think we're going to speed run this one too, because look at that. We got our guests of honor, our children's information, our 10th annual table of contents, our 10th annual table of contents, code of conduct, and all the sponsors, charity information, the merch plug, and your vendor hall map. They did autographs in the vendor room this year. Great lineup of guests of honor as usual. Even more guests of honor. autographs, and thank you to the staff. Man, that Wendy's is cursed. I think I went there once, and I tried to order on my app, and the app took my money, but they said they never got my order. And there I was on the phone with Wendy's support trying to figure out why they took my money, but never got my order to the store. I had such a bad experience at that Wendy's that I never went to Wendy's again after that. Not even joking. Sorry for that random rant, but yeah, that was Everfree 2022. Let's see what's next. So next up, HarmonyCon. I love this art from Amalu. Is this different than before? Looks like they got, here we are. We're in the COVID era, so we got our welcome from the co-chairs and also their COVID rules about wearing masks and showing proof of vaccination or negative COVID test. What a weird time for PonyCons, huh? But look, even though this very serious kind of depressing and contentious incident going on, they address it with a cute little comic. That's nice. Our special guests, William Anderson is an underrated guest, I think. He's an underrated part of the show. He does the background music for the show. Some more special guests, followed by more community guests. No P for Pony in the vendor hall. So this is the same venue I was complaining about last time. Oh, they have 2 pages of ads here. I guess they worked with the advertisers to have this consistent look. That's actually really cool. I recognize some vendors. We got Ponytown. I think some of these are just for fun. What does this one say? Learn to sing like a genuine lady. Are you tired of your neighbors throwing rocks at your windows when you let out your voice? Yes. Except as when I'm recording these videos. Got your Sunday schedule. Oh, what is this? Oh, an ad for Whinny City. That's cool. So I did not attend that Whinny City, so we didn't look at that booklet. But see, there's more of this in-person branding. Back when people couldn't imagine actually leaving the house. Like, that was a big deal. Like, oh, wow, it's in person this time. Hey, did I know this was in here? HarmonyCon Bingo is a great idea. I run my own PonyCon Bingo every time I go to a con. Participate in a panel in any way. That could backfire. Sometimes you don't want that. Discuss your favorite ponies with someone. That's a given. That's the free space. Play a game with someone while waiting in line. That's also a given. That just sort of happens spontaneously. And then we got some special thanks to Sequestria Fest, BabsCon, Everfree. Hey, we just looked at that con booklet. And then some of these technical consultants, it looks like. So you got their charity, HarmonyCon staff, and that's it. That's HarmonyCon 2022. 10 out of 10 HarmonyCon booklet. I feel bad showing Everfree side by side with HarmonyCon because it's no contest. Make it stop. They're already dead. I feel bad for Everfree now. They just can't compare. All right, Everfree. This is your last chance to impress me. This was my first Everfree Northwest. I love the colors and design of this booklet at least. And here we are. This looks familiar. Guests of honor, children information, table of contents, con chair, code of conduct. This is the exact same design. Hey, function over form. I can appreciate that too. Ah, here we go. More COVID stuff, you know. You can meet the guests remotely. Wait a minute. Who is that? I hate being called a YouTuber. It actually says YouTube. YouTube. Now, I've told the story before, but this was basically peak COVID while still having an event at all. They were desperate, and they came to me. I don't usually apply to be a special guest just because of stage fright and the pressure of like being on a panel. Probably the first and last time I'll be a special guest, but I'm very grateful that they invited me. I had a great time. Your autographs and your 2021 staff. And then your area map again. I do wonder how many of these were actually open during COVID, though. So yeah, Everfree's booklets, again, compared to HarmonyCon, doesn't really compare, but still, great design, very professional, very utilitarian and useful at a con. All right, what comes after 2021? Well, obviously, it's going to be 2020, a very cursed year for pony conventions for obvious reasons. As you can see, HarmonyCon took place February, just before the world shut down due to COVID-19. So 2020 was also significant because it was the year after the last BronyCon. So 2020 was going to be the year I go to all of the pony conventions. I planned HarmonyCon, BabsCon, Everfree, TrotCon. I was going to go to 4 or 5 conventions in 1 year after only having been to 1 every year, or mostly 1. We'll look at a couple more. So 2020 was the year of pony conventions for me. And well, obviously this is the only one I got to go to. Also, at this time, HarmonyCon was still pretty small. It was a lot of fun to watch HarmonyCon kind of grow up and be able to attend so many of the cons as it grew. So this one was in a different city in a different venue, Addison, Texas. I am curious to see how my first HarmonyCon booklet compares to the other ones. And already, I love the vaporwave aesthetic. This is fun. I see this map and I think of like all the memories and friends I've met in this little hallway area. I think I first met Bobby C's in this hallway right here. Like, this brings back memories. Your chair welcoming, code of conduct and rules. Lots of great special guests as usual. We watched the finale of the show alongside with him and he did like a live commentary. You can't get that anywhere but a pony convention. Look at this. Even the vendor hall map has some fun theming to it. Come on, HarmonyCon. You're putting everyone else to shame. Classic schedule grid and your panel descriptions. I was going to say we just looked at that con booklet, but we didn't. This one didn't happen. The bingo's back. I got to look back at this and add some of these to my own PonyCon bingo. There's some good ideas here. Again, I love the design. I love the utility of the con booklet. I love the style and theme. Are you guys ready? We're entering the BronyCon era of my con books now. August 1st to 4th is very significant because that might be the only 4-day PonyCon, at least that I know of. But I love their secret agent theme with the codes and stuff. This feels very premium, like the menu at a very upscale restaurant or something. BronyCon is ending, and it's hard. For many of us, this is a second home, surrounded by people who love the authentic us. This is a chance for us to take all of the friendship lessons we've learned together over the years and share them with the rest of the world. Together, we built a community that genuinely believes in kindness, laughter, generosity, and even a touch of magic. We're forgetting a couple there. BronyCon is ending, and it's okay. New stories are waiting to begin. What will you do next? I think this has more significance to me in hindsight than it did at the time. When BronyCon ended, I thought that was the end of not only the show, but also the end of me going to conventions. And as you just saw in previous con booklets, it was very much the new story's beginning for me. Code of conduct, attendee policies type of page here, and what's this? I'm sure this says something of interest. I do remember the gun-like props being banned was a big deal. Old BronyCons, you would have military cosplayers bring prop guns, and that was just normal. That's very much an old relic of the past at old BronyCons to see military cosplayers. All right, look at this. Cool theming. I like this a lot. You get your guests of honor. So I'm guessing they went all out this year. Yeah, they got quite a few guests. Again, I almost looked right over. Lauren Faust herself is on here. Wow. But yeah, I love seeing guests like Larson, hearing from the writers and directors and stuff like that. Known agents of influence for the community guests. That's really funny. And here's the map of the Baltimore Convention Center. It's a little bit of a maze, right on brand with the secret agent theme. You had to go through the maze of the convention center. Everfree 2020, which didn't happen because of COVID, but HarmonyCon 2020 did. We just saw that booklet. Bronypalooza. These are all the musicians. Here's your panels and activities. Man, it's weird seeing a Brony fandom history panel from a piece of history. What's so weird? There's a lot here I'm skimming over. Maybe I could benefit from this panel. The Ponies the Anthology 7 premiere. That was a unique experience for sure. So they had something called a gopher. They call you to go for something. Go for the AV equipment. Go for the info booth. Go for this and that. Special thanks for the Baltimore's, people who helped out and founded the con, and every fan of My Little Pony, past, present, and future. That includes you. Like, look how big BronyCon was. That this is just their sponsor pages. And speaking of big, look how big their vendor hall is. This page, as we're about to see in future booklets, always said next year's dates. That was always how they revealed and announced next year. Except here, which is just thank you. That's really bittersweet. But yeah, here's also an area map of Baltimore. Yeah, that brings back memories. But there's more memories to come. I have a feeling I know what's next. It is indeed BronyCon 2018. Just to be clear, these are the con booklets I personally have. Everfree and TrotCon and Ciderfest. All those cons are happening these years. So there's their online guide, which I doubt works. I wonder if there's any remains of this QR code. 404s? You couldn't put a memorial page there? Oh, that's tragic. It must have been road trip themed this year. There's your hours. You're welcome. You got some guests of honor. More guests of honor. Nick Confalone, underrated writer, honestly. Obviously Larson does good stuff too, but no one talks about Nick Confalone, but he has some of the best episodes too. More guests of honor, and then our community guests. Depending on what color card you're wearing is your level of social activity. So if you're green, you want to go out and find other green people. So yeah, general code of conduct, harassment policy, rules and costume stuff. There's Bronypalooza 2018. Charity stuff, more gopher stuff. Looks like they were doing a postcard event. What does this say? Okay, it's a stamp rally, it looks like. So here's your panel descriptions. This does indeed appear to be alphabetical order. I was wondering about that earlier. Oh, there's a map of the convention center. This font, this banner, this is on brand. This is cool. Hey, there's an ad for Quid. Oh no. I'm getting some PTSD. Quid was one of the only 2 sponsors I've ever had on this YouTube channel. So at the time, I gave them a genuine shot. I did use Quid for a good couple of years. I wouldn't accept a sponsor unless I actually used the product. You could unpack and unbox virtual items and collect them on your profile to show off to other users. At the time, I had fun with the Quid app. It's a fun novelty and a fun gimmick. Unfortunately, I think Quid got hacked and breached your information. They also pivoted limited to sports gambling and NFTs, and yeah, they're just an icky name I don't want to associate with anymore. It just got pages and pages of panel descriptions and activities. I see YouTube for Dummies. That's a good one for me. This is fun. Random ads and stuff. So you got, Lunar Shine. I remember Lunar Shine. Lunar Shine had like custom merchandise, but they also sold like 4DE plushies. So somewhat recently, and by recently I mean a few years ago, they liquidated their plushies. So you could get like a whole bunch of the 4DE Twilies for, I think it was like $5 a pop or $10. It was like really cheap. So I actually bought a gigantic box of them, and I brought it to one of the HarmonyCons actually, and just gave them all out for free. But yeah, I kind of got ahead of myself there. Look at this giant marketplace, this vendor hall. There's all the sponsors and special thanks. I remember this box. I think I got one of these, or maybe more than one of these. Top tier Con Booklet once again. So believe it or not, there are some non-BronyCon conventions mixed in here, but our next one is still BronyCon. You got like a robot and an anime girl, or is it just anime? Maybe it's just anime. Let's see if we can find out what the theme is. It's like a full page just for art and table of contents. I like this design. You got your welcome from the chairs, info once again, guests of honor, more guests of honor, more guests of honor, and again, you get like a full page of art with some information. I like this design. It's not it's not frugal with pages, obviously, but it is fun to browse through. Bronypalooza was their concert, in case I didn't make that clear. Here's another scavenger hunt. I don't remember doing this one, honestly. Oh, wait, I do remember the Pokemon Go stuff. Everyone was playing Pokemon Go. Props to them for having unique maps. A lot of the con booklets we looked at so far just recycled the same map. And more activities. Another premiere for Anthology, always a big event. The Saturday morning ponies or Saturday morning cartoons, that's always fun to roll out of bed in the hotel and go downstairs and watch cartoons with fellow bronies. That's classic brony convention activities for me. So even more activities. This is the first one my eyes laid on. The Nicolas Cage Appreciation Panel. Marketplace, the vendor hall again. There are names here I didn't recognize then but do now. Like, that's really cool to look back and see that they were around me this whole time, even if I just discovered some of them in recent years. For one of the biggest brony conventions, of course, there's tons of staff members. The map, and see you next year. So believe it or not, the next con booklet is not in fact BronyCon, it is PonyCon 2017. I only went there for one day, and I think this was their last year, if I'm not mistaken. But today we're just looking at the con booklet, and I kept this little coloring page that came with it. So they have this little fold-out coloring page for family events, but you can be sure plenty of bronies were doing the coloring too. This is their mascot. As far as I know, the only pony convention to have a Draconicus mascot. All right, let's look at the little pamphlet. Oh, is it only one page? It actually looks like it's not a full booklet. So on the back, we have the map. I will say, getting critical here, but this is less convenient to read. But this was a very small pony convention, so maybe you didn't even need a map. I believe this was in New Jersey, right on the coast, actually. And yeah, look at this. An entire spread of an event grid. For a smaller event like this is kind of all you need. If you can get over my awkward old vlogs, you can go check out my PonyCon vlog to see exactly what I got up to there. So our next booklet is back to basics with BronyCon. While taking this out of the plastic, I found something kind of fun. So just to be clear, this was my making. This was not from the con booklet, but I do want to look over this. Someone dressed normally, but wearing ears or a tail. Check that off. The ice cold water guy. Of course I checked that off. Free hug sign. Checked off. You don't see free hugs much anymore. Is that a post-COVID thing, I guess? Steampunk something is not checked off. I guess steampunk was slowly losing steam at this point. This next one. Someone at a microphone during a Q&A without a legitimate question. People who just run up to the microphone without having anything to say. Cosplay so big they probably have trouble walking through doors is checked off. Pony art on the board at Five Guys. These are oddly specific bingo squares, huh? That's great. See, I mentioned it earlier. Military cosplayers role-playing a little too realistically. You would see them everywhere. That was just a normal occurrence. So for the booklet itself, yeah, it's some kind of adventure, holiday, vacation kind of thing. North America. This looks pretty familiar. We got our info and our welcome from the con chairs. Our guests of honor. More guests of honor. More guests of honor. Oh man, some of these bring back memories. This one's kind of funny. Brony, well not funny, but you know what I mean. Brony bullying panel. Like that was a big deal back then. That was like common enough to have its own panel, but these days I feel like geek culture, bronies and animation and comic books and all that stuff just became normalized. We don't really get bullied anymore. We're too boring now. We need to be more weird and get bullied more often. Another unique design for the map. I think every other con we looked at so far in this video needs to learn from this. Even HarmonyCon, for all the praise I gave them, they were recycling some of the maps too. But this is neat. Even more panels and activities. More panels and activities. All the sponsors, special thanks, the swag shop ad, and see you next year. Are you guys ready for more BronyCon? Too bad! We're looking at FillyCon. So just like PonyCon, FillyCon was also an event I attended for only one day personally. And I also don't really know the full history of FillyCon. I think this was their last event, but I'm not even sure of that. Wait, what does that mean about me? If all the cons I go to for one day died the next year. Oh, sheesh, am I the con killer? And to be clear, it's called FillyCon because it was in Philadelphia. Oh, wait, it's the first annual My Little Pony convention for the Philadelphia area. Yeah, so the usual letter, the usual rules. I got some good guests of honor. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. And of course, you got musical guests as well. I gotta ask though, are they gonna have this schedule grid or is this it for panels? Wait, I'm skipping ahead here. I don't think I see a schedule grid. Oh no, I think this is it for panels. So yeah, I was only here for one day, so most of these panels I didn't even have a chance to see. See, I just got done talking about it. Brony bullying, I swear, that was like a thing. Here's some maps. Now these are very clear and easy to understand maps. I like this. There's one of their mascots showing off more scheduled items. I love seeing cons cross-promote other cons like that. It's always good to know that there's like so many more cons out there. A lot of people will go to their local con or their one go-to con and not even realize there's like dozens of conventions out there. And I'm just talking about pony conventions. There's dozens of like just pony conventions over the years. There's various arts and crafts events. There's your vendor map, Ponyverse. That's a name I haven't heard of recently, but I think they're still around. Now that I say that, of course, they're going to shut down. Oh, look at that. They even cross-promote here. We got DerpyCon, PonyCon, Everfree Northwest, and TrotCon. I wonder why they don't mention BronyCon. Is that just because everyone knows about BronyCon? Here's your staff page. Oh, and a full-page TrotCon ad. Like I think I mentioned earlier, TrotCon's kind of going through some rough things right now, but they were one of the OG pony conventions. Like, they were going to be the next BronyCon, and it just completely didn't happen. Oh, there's an area map. Okay, this is cool. All right, special thanks to the sponsors and your autographs. Fairly high quality, nice art, good size for a con booklet. I like this one. All right, well, it's been a long journey, but we're getting back to BronyCon, and I think we're going to finish off the video with BronyCon. I'm looking forward to this one, that's for sure. All right, BronyCon 2015. This is special because 2015 was sort of like the peak of Bronydom, right? Already you get the full page or double full page art with information. I like that design a lot, actually. What was the theme? Space aliens? I don't know. Well, it says right there, Clash of the Cosmos. Maybe that's the theme. Maybe if I could read, I would know what the theme is. You get your con chair welcome, info and hours, guests of honor. Oh man, John Delancey. Remember when he went to PonyCons? But it's cool that some of these names are still around at PonyCons to this day, even Nicole Oliver. Some things have changed a lot and some things have changed not at all. So you got your policies, you got your rules. This looks very familiar. I think this is pretty much the same. There's an ad for someone's booth. That's kind of cool. All right, lots of panels and activities. I'm mostly skimming this, but obviously some standouts are like Bronies React. That, for me personally, it was a big deal to be invited to those. Even if I was horribly awkward and extremely anxious, it was still an honor to be on a BronyCon panel. Like, that was a big deal. Secret Ship Fic. I don't hear about this much anymore, but this was a big deal back then. And it just keeps going on and on with more and more panels and activities. It never ends. Hey, one of the names that stands out to me here is Legends of Equestria. I remember, I think it was at the time, probably maybe even this year, we would like fill up the front row wearing t-shirts of like a meme from the Legends of Equestria game. That was a lot of fun. And Silly Philly Studios, that's a throwback right there. And we got some information about the concert and then also DerpyCon. DerpyCon is something I know very little about despite having been there for one day. Anyway, lots more staff here for BronyCon. Get your sponsors and special thanks. Another ad for Lunarshine. See you next year. Or not. I could be mistaken, but I think only one BronyCon had this like full-size con booklet, and we're looking at that next. Oh, there's also some other surprises here too. Wait, does it say what the theme is right off the bat? No, it doesn't. Because look at this destruction. So crabs are a Maryland thing. Baltimore's mascot is attacking our mascots. But hey, look at this. They might have done this for other years, and I just didn't save it. I keep talking about the panel grids, the schedule grids. Look at this one. This is right out of Once Upon a Zeppelin right here. This brings back memories of paper maps for some reason. I can just imagine walking around BronyCon with this over my face. I would love to see more PonyCons do this. Even if I understand why it's not practical and why it's more expensive, it's still a cool idea. I like this. Bring this back. Oh, it even has a reverse side for the vendors. Look at that. All the vendors in one spot. Wow, I can't even unwrap it. Oh, and the map. Look at that. Look at all this information. We got a map of the event and all the vendors. This is a stupid idea, but like, please bring this back. I love it. It's been a long time since I folded a map. All right, there we go. I got it. All right, now the con booklet itself. I wonder if that's going to be in here too. This is the Baltimore Convention Center where BronyCon took place. All right, we open up with our convention chair welcome, and our guests of honor. This does look like a slightly different design from the other booklets, probably because it's so much larger. Oh yeah, lots of big names here. Some here. Get your convention information, the usual rules. It says right here, gun-like props must have orange tips. You know, like I mentioned earlier, the military cosplayers were a big deal at BronyCon, so it is interesting to see how that evolved and changed over time. But yeah, I don't know when they introduced this. Maybe it was this year, but the color communication badges, charity information, and here we go with the panel descriptions. Imagine in one hand trying to unravel this, in the other hand you're reading this. Not practical, and obviously a website or app is better, but like, I miss this. It's not just me making this up, all right? It was a big deal. Who remembers Derpy Mail? Imagine actually getting your email through Derpy. For a very brief period of time, I did use Derpy Mail. I would not recommend it now just because I'm not sure who owns and operates it. Anybody who operates an email server can read your emails. Like, you want to be careful with that. But that was a cool idea, and I'm glad I lived in a period of time where that was something I could actually use realistically. Advertisement right there. Journey of the Spark? Join the team for an exciting behind-the-scenes look at one of the biggest fan animations in history. Well, that never happened. I've told the story before, but I was invited to join the Journey of the Spark team to help with editing and visual effects and that sort of stuff, and it shut down like a week after that. So not only have I killed 2 conventions by attending them, but I killed Journey of the Spark too. Man, there's so much plush stuff I just wasn't aware of back then. White Dove was one of the biggest plush creators back then. Speaking of big, is this going to fit on camera? I got this Rarity secondhand, but it's always been a dream of mine to get a White Dove plushie. Look at that. And Rarity is holding a pin, because I did in fact find that pin in her unfinished mane. White Dove, if you're watching this, is she still under warranty? She retired years ago, so she doesn't make plushies anymore as far as I know. But man, some things never go out of style, and 2 of the most stylish things are Minecraft and ponies. What's this? There's a panel just for pony memes? I want to go to that. Oh, the Canterlot Cinema. Every day during the con, they would just be playing PMVs and animations, and it says documentaries and stuff. That was a great place to go and just chill. You know, if you need a break or you have some downtime, just go in that room and watch PMVs and other pony videos. I love that a lot, and I wish cons would bring that back. There's a little ad. The ads are fun to look back on. Wow, it just keeps going. We got more events, more music, and Bronypalooza, of course. So yeah, see you next year in 2015. Oh, and here, they expanded the local map in this version of the con book. All right, I've returned to the convention binder of doom. Of course, it's BronyCon. We only got 2 more. Let's finish it off with 2013 and 2012. It is difficult to pinpoint why, but for some reason, I remember 2013 as being the most nostalgic year of Bronydom ever. Like, obviously, I became a Brony in 2011, but 2013 was really where things exploded and got out of control in the best possible way. And look at that, 2013 BronyCon also had a fold-out panel grid. Why would you put black text on gray? That is horrible. Not even color-coded or anything. This is bad. If you bring these back, pony conventions, don't bring them back like this. Wow. The map does indeed appear to be useful. This is good stuff. All right, the booklet itself. That must be Derpy's muffin store. Wait a minute. Speaking of Derpy is a crab, apparently. I don't know. There's something about this that feels really nostalgic, and we haven't even gotten to the 2012 booklet yet, but this one feels special already. Oh, look at that. Full page of just like a cool background. Like, they're not trying to cram information in every page like some of the other con booklets were. Although I will say, black text on a black dark background. Got our welcome from the convention chair. Got our guests of honor as usual. Oh, this is fun. I love seeing these kind of ads. Did a book publisher actually get an ad in BronyCon's booklet? Because that's really interesting. They really knew their audience. They knew bronies were going to eat this up. It's 20% cooler than all the other books. All right, convention map. This is different than before. Oh, look at that. Look at that registration line. I love that they take the time to map out your line. Could spend hours there. There's your vendor hall. This is a very simple kind of design, but I like it. It's actually, I like the clarity of this design. It's not very artistic or interesting, but there is a lot of clarity with this. I appreciate that. Ideally, a con will try to have the best of both worlds, have some cool art and style, and also be very readable. I like a utilitarian con book. And then you get your panel grid here anyway. What's the point of making it smaller and harder to read if you have the con booklet? I don't get that. Who remembers Brony.com? I don't have a clue who ran Brony.com. I don't know if it was a company or just some random Brony, but that brings back memories for sure. And you got like a little smaller ad here from just someone who makes custom ponies. That's pretty cool. And lots of panels. Standouts are like Brony's reaction stuff. And oh, who remembers Brony Breakdown? Oh wow, Friendship is Witchcraft had a panel. That's huge. Interesting. Portal to Equestria. That makes me think it's like a live stream event, but no, it's live action role-playing. Oh yeah, Traveling Pony Museum has artwork on display. That was a classic. I miss the Traveling Pony Museum, that's for sure. What is she reacting to? This feels like it needs to be captioned. Put your own caption right here. Now this is effective advertising. You would get my attention with this one. I mean, you just did. This was a very special year for bronies. All right, we got one more con booklet. You ready for this? Gonna lay this one down carefully. BronyCon 2012. Man, exposition center. I remember this. I remember these stairs. I remember sitting on these handrails and looking at the big tractor trailer TV screen in front of it. So obviously this was like kind of the origin of Brony conventions. Technically, BronyCon had smaller events in New York City before this, but like this is the first really big one. They had 4,000 attendees at BronyCon 2012, and they would have had more, but they maxed out the size of the venue. They had to cut off badge sales. And then also included with that was one of their ads. Not only do they probably have ads inside we'll look at, but they had this little flyer for, what is that, nail polish? Nail lacquer? But they're all themed after ponies. I've never been so excited to look at an ad before, but let's look at the booklet itself. It's been many years since I looked at this thing. Oh, the first page is a great ad for Enterplay, the trading cards. I made a whole video about these trading cards, and I highly recommend you go take a look at it. It's one of my favorite videos. And look, this is for BronyCon. I should have shown this in that video because they're talking about the exclusive foil card you could get at booth 604. All right, we got our table of contents, got our welcome from the con chair, as is tradition. So this really laid out the format to have the con chair welcome, and then jump right to your guests of honor. But sheesh, let's just appreciate that for a second, huh? Lauren Faust, John Delancey, Tara Strong at a Brony convention, Nicole Oliver, Andrea Lippman, Kathy West. Every one of these is being delivered breathlessly because these are huge names that some of them still go to Brony conventions, but definitely not all at the same time. So this is pretty huge. And we get our rules, our props policy, and would you look at that? TrotCon was there from the very beginning. Very clear and easy to understand. Vendor hall layout. And this is it. This is the entire convention. I remember this very well. So basically, BronyCon 2012 was just one big room. It was divided by curtains and stuff, but this was basically one room. And they used like the corner of the curtain angle here to like squeeze in the autograph line and a table of autographs right there, all in one big room. That had problems. The acoustics were terrible. If you were sitting over here, you could not hear anything from over here. Every panel was just talking over each other. Everyone browsing vendor hall was crowded and couldn't get past each other. They would cycle the main hall by lining up incoming people here and have people go out here. So while people were coming into the next panel, they'd be leaving the previous panel and it'd just be like a whirlpool of bronies. It was great. All right, what else we got? We got some events. So am I mistaken? Was this only a 2-day event? Wow, I didn't remember that, honestly. It felt like a lifetime, but yeah, apparently it was just Saturday and Sunday. Time is weird. All right, next up, we get the panel descriptions. I don't think BronyCon 2012 had many panels. Like, as you can see, I think it was just 2 days, only a couple panel rooms. So like, that's it already. I don't actually remember the hangout rooms at all. I don't have a clue where this stuff would have been. Maybe it was like upstairs and I never went up there. I don't know. Ponies Live Now, the ultimate Brony gaming live stream. Hey, Twitch existed, okay. I remember livestream.com as being the place to live stream, but I guess Twitch was around in 2012. My Little Ties, still kicking. I got some stuff from him. The Brony Show. I don't know if I've actually seen the Brony Show, but this looks very familiar. Okay, I looked it up. The Brony Show uploaded 2 days ago as of this recording. That's why it looks so familiar. They've been around a long time. Derpy News was like a more professional competitor to Equestria Daily, in my opinion. They would report on like really hard-hitting news and journalism in the Brony community specifically. People don't really remember this or know this, but I'm pretty sure Derpy News broke the news about Equestria Girls. I think it was a Derpy News writer who like leaked the Equestria Girls information and nobody thought it was real because it was too absurd to be real. And then Anime Central has a full page ad in here apparently. But you get your staff shout outs. And then finally, a little thank you, a little message about the old BronyCon from Purple Tinker. Purple says that it knew it would grow, just had no idea how large or how fast. Here's looking forward to an even more amazing BronyCon 2013. Well, there it is. All of my con booklets, as of recording. I plan to get more. Hopefully I'll get more from Everfree and HarmonyCon at least. If you like this format, check out my playlist. I made some other videos of this nature. I always tweet out or post to Mastodon before making one of these videos, so if you ever want to weigh in, if you have something to share, feel free to reply to those posts and I'll put it in the video. Check out more of my videos in this format because I think you'll enjoy them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and here's to adding even more to my collection. I'll see you at the next one.